Hi, Sunday chat, a bunch of models to get through, so let me not waste time. Now, during the year, I have been touching on this one here and there, cleaning up parts, and I was doing that again. So in one of my previous videos, I de-chromed some of the pieces. This, I can't remember which wing, or if it was all of the wings were chromed. This is a model which I'd obtained partially built. Engine has had some work on it. I did a bit of sanding on the tires. They do have this pretty heavy ridgeline, a little bit less refined than later Tamiya kits. It's acceptable for what I was expecting out of this. So I sanded it up to the point where you can still see the ridgeline, but it's at least doesn't have too much of a ridge on it. The front wheel has got the ridge right on the side there, right on this side there. So the front wheels are a lot more acceptable. But then I spotted that the all of the side curtains or side fairings are missing from the kit. Probably a whole bunch of stuff is missing off red pieces, so I can still build an engine, and I'll sort of decide what I can do about this, but unfortunately it looks like that's hit a bit of a dead end. What I wanted to do with this was just a very quick Formula One build, putting in minimal effort but to make it look good. In the same batch then I got 3 others. So this one, these are all somewhat old Tamiya and not the easiest to find, yet still quite nice cars. This one had also been started. It does, well, I haven't gone through all the parts, but I think it's complete. So what I was hoping to do with a kit that already had a lot of work done, this one has almost nothing done, although it has, the guy did do some filling of the ejector pin marks, although I don't know how much visibility any of them would have. Maybe they would have. But although I could go ahead with this one, it does have quite a nice decal sheet. I might as well also just go for the original Formula One car that I wanted to build, which was the Benetton Ford, a much later car. So I'll see, here and there I just dabble, you know, sort of. At the moment I'm still busy with my maths, which is also why wheelie is on a bit of a hold off. So what I'm doing at the moment is just when I need a bit of a mental break, I just sit in front of Netflix and clean parts and do a little bit, which is what I've been doing with this one. So I did put the chrome parts into some fresh drain cleaner, which contains that bleach component which wipes off the chrome, and it did do a lot better job. So remember I told you that you can see that yellowish, you can see it a lot better there. Whatever pre-coating that is as part of their chroming process, that remains, and tough luck. But anyway, got all the chrome off, and I've been cleaning all the parts. So all of the parts for this are now ready, and I have decided that I will paint it up nicely. Remember I've been saying in videos around March or somewhere that this is a nostalgia build. I built one before I even had paints, so this would have been back to about 1979 or 78. Built one for my brother. It was an orange plastic version. This one yellow plastic, and since I've been looking at it I've sort of got a bit attached. I'm okay to actually do the yellow build, but I'm not going to do it bright yellow like that. That's that's sort of very, very fresh. I'd like to do this as a vehicle that's sort of got a bit of age on it, and it's a lot more down-toned yellow. And I would actually like to do it reasonably nicely, although I'm not going to go to town on you know, really making the interior all fancy. I would sort of like the appeal to be that the exterior is nice. Oh, I sanded these as well. So actually, hold on, if I put all of these, you get a sort of a nice view. So that, I started off with sandpaper, but this is a different type of rubber than the Formula One car. This is a pretty hard rubber. So what I ended up doing was using one of these files, just a very heavy file. Well, when I say heavy, heavy for model parts. I'm not sure what they call that file. And sort of just going over it, getting the ridge line off and bringing it down to what looks like a quite nice road wear, which I'm happy with. Engine is built up to the point for initial painting. The tappet covers I'll leave off because they'll get a different color. They were chrome. I'm not going to make them chrome. I'll just make them a different color. So there's a number of parts that must still go on, but they'll get painted separately. This is sort of the minimum assembly to get the engine complete and be paintable. My tendency is to leave as much off as possible for painting. So all of these, for instance, all of that will get painted. In fact, I'd say that everything that you're seeing in here will be painted independently before assembly. It's got that decal set. I'm hoping that goes on without any hassle, and I guess I will use it. I'm not going to do those rims as bright chrome like that. I'll do them a more sedate gunmetal. The front grille will be something like the Humbrol silver. A lot of cleaning work, a lot of scraping and cleaning off edges, particularly inside here. There were about six ejector pin marks which had left quite a bit of height, so that your clear piece would not seat in there. So, you know, if I can give a little bit of advice with some of these older cars, you do need to spend quite a bit of time cleaning up. Even the seam lines around edges there, they're not that visible. You sort of, you know, feel your car all over, and you'll feel if there's something that's a little bit out of place. So that's I'm quite happy with that. I'm not keen on these bathtub type of parts simply for the painting ability. You know, you've now got to try and paint the door detail, but as I say, I'm not going to go to town on painting any detail in there. It'd be minimal. Seats are all good, so that's perfect for painting separately. Slight oddity is that they provide this piece which must complete a part of the tire. Oops. Let's just get another one. So that means that yellow part needs to be painted black before I lose another piece. So the rims, quite easy to paint, gunmetal. This will be a little bit trickier because I don't want the whole thing metal. I want a black base behind that, and that grille part must be dry brushed silver. So actually that will get painted black first. So all in all, I'm not in a rush to complete that, but that's on the go. Okay, been painting a bit on this RS1000. Most notably, the engine is virtually complete. Now, I did do a little bit of sort of customization in that it doesn't have those gold side covers on, but I'm quite happy with that. Now this, one of the keys to making it look quite nice is the acrylic floor paint afterwards, the clear coat, so that while the silver looks nice, the real appeal comes out only after a gloss. The cylinders I did paint with the gloss as well, but I painted less thickness of paint so that it doesn't get too glossy, but it is protected. Now, one of the benefits of that is you can touch it and handle this as much as you want. That is protected. The silver, that silver there, I've toned down with the Tamiya Smoke compared to the original bright silver, just to give it that little bit more feel of a used aluminium block, or casing I should say. Wheels will remain black. Big annoyance is the seam line filling. I'm already on my third run of painting, of filling and sanding, and then checking whether any recess remains. Now, the reason that this annoys me quite a lot is because with the sanding you have to be really, really careful not to sand away plastic. So you can't sort of evenly go over it. You really don't want to dip off after you've filled the original recess nicely, and then you get a dip off because you sanded too much on the plastic. So you have to focus the sandpaper really onto the filled part. Try to bring it down to the level of the plastic, and then use a softer, sort of a worn 600 to really even it out. So it takes quite a bit of time, and I often wonder whether it's worth the effort compared to the original seam line that might have been going down the length there. I'm actually sort of putting myself in the thinking that for many of the kits that are not intended to be high quality builds, I mean, I'm doing this one very nicely, don't get me wrong, but it's not intended to be competition quality. And having that that join line go down the middle, and maybe it'll even get covered by a decal partially. In fact, this one would. There's that white decal right on the top, which you can't see there. That seam line, of course, is at the bottom. You won't see that. So there's a lot of seam lines that honestly you can just get away with, save yourself a whole lot of trouble. So a lot of painting to go here. The forks are de-chromed, ready for the gloss black. Actually, a lot of the parts here now, I think I've cleaned up just about everything. And gradually, as I do paint, probably the next section actually is to get that all down and ready for Bodyworks spraying. So that'll be quite a nice one. And then I pulled out this one. Now this, if you don't know much about bikes, this particular bike here is one of the most interesting designs in all of bike history. Not the most, because you could certainly find some radical things, one-offs, but you know, as a sort of main production, a Honda production, well, it's not a production, it's a race production vehicle. I'm not sure how many they actually made, but it has that very, very interesting feature. That big aluminium part at the bottom is the fuel tank, and all four expansion chambers run up in the area where the tank would be. So the tank cover, that which looks like a tank, is covering 4 expansion chambers, making the rider, Freddy in this case, very, very hot. Not a pleasant bike to ride, and was discontinued. They reverted back to the standard layout. So that frame has a very interesting structure, different to other frames, because it had to accommodate this adjusted engine, exhaust and fuel tank. The idea with that fuel tank was to lower the center of gravity, which it did in the beginning, while the tank was full. But as the race progressed, it actually became top heavy, which one would have thought the engineers would have known. That doesn't take a lot of thinking to realize that. Now the Tamiya kit has this very, very nice, that's already assembled, that's 3 parts. This is the complicated fuel tank shape that fits underneath there, with all those recesses and shapes to fit snugly under the engine. So with this kit I will actually be having this on display, which means I'm not going to be putting on the fairing and not the tank cover, so that you can see it exactly like that, being a very, very unique motorbike design. Very, very good quality Tamiya kit. I saw online one of the guys built the complete fairing and displays it next to the bike, which is quite a nice idea as well. So that's not in a hurry, but it is quite a unique bike in my bike range. So while I am dabbling with the bikes at the moment, I am supposed to be getting to wheelie, but I really want to get the maths done first before I do that. I'll just speak about this first. So this is a black rim, which I would like to get red, but I don't want it to be a very bright red, certainly not the red that you saw on that NSR 500. I want this to be sprayed with the same paint, but end up being a sort of a medium red. Now this that you see right here is the matte red Humbrol, which I think is 60 if I'm not mistaken. The reason I mask everything is because I don't want paint touching the tire afterwards. It does actually react. So once the tire is on, the tire must just be touching plastic. So I've sprayed that just to get a new base coat color, but what I have mentioned in previous videos is that for automotive type of spraying, I don't commonly spray a matte onto anything because that affects your final look. But in this case, we don't have a large a surface that will reflect light in such a way that you would notice the difference. So I would take this brush, and I won't do it right now, but I would brush lightly to get rid of the semi-loose granules of paint that are still on there. But don't go too hard, because you can actually go right through back to the black gloss plastic. So onto that I will be doing the Humbrol Gloss Red. So if I'd taken this to a white, I would get a very bright red in the end. Having taken it to this point, as you're spraying the gloss, you would sort of be progressively getting a slightly brighter red each time, and you can stop as soon as you're happy with it being even an acceptable red. So as I'm sitting painting, I put it on these so that you can just turn it as you're spraying in there. Directing mainly at the rim side, and then also you'll get enough overspray to cover the spokes in most cases, so a little bit more on the hub. So we'll see what this looks like. At the moment it obviously doesn't look very appealing because it's got that matte, but I'm expecting this to be quite a nice gloss red rim. This I can't remember which one this is for actually now. Okay, wheelie. Someone did ask after wheelie, and I had said a long time ago, and as I commonly say in videos, what I'm going to be getting to next, and it's almost never that. I almost always change my mind on what happened the next week. But I think it is time to get those cardboard, the exact lines on the cardboard laid out from looking at the videos, and get a cutout done. So I can't guarantee, but that is coming up soon. Okay, happy modeling, till next time.